The Pokemon singles market seems to be more volatile now than ever before, though within this video, I'm going to be explaining why I think Pokemon cards will continue to decline in price throughout 2025. Though before we get into this topic, I'm actually thrilled to be gifting this Miriam Special Illustration Rare from Scarlet and Violet base. Now, if I reply to your comment with this lucky Jirachi emoji, then well done, because this awesome Special Illustration Rare is coming your way. And hey, if you are new to the channel, welcome aboard. My name's Phil and I run this Pokemon investing and collecting YouTube channel. It's always incredible having new faces on board the channel, so definitely feel free to subscribe to get consistent Pokemon market updates. Though, one area we need to talk about is why I believe Pokemon cards will continue to dip throughout 2025. And I think to illustrate this point, it's good to show you the current market prices that we're dealing with and kind of go over why there's a bit of risks here as well. All right, so the first one that we are on is the Surging Sparks Pikachu. Now, this data points and the data points that I'm going to be taking you through today, and again, I know, data, whatever we want to call it. Right now, we're sticking with data, right? But these data points are crucial to understand, right? So this is where I want to walk you through, especially with some of these cards in particular, right? So you can see with the Surging Sparks Pikachu, right? Now, we all know it's coming down in price, right? Yes, it's an expensive card still, but there's reasons why this card in particular is a good reference point for what I'm about to take you through with this video. Very important to know, because this is actually a reason why I'm not too confident with purchasing cards, but this is a top chase card, or one of the top chase cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. Same thing when we look at the Magikarp Illustration Rare. You can see selling for $278, that was the top of its price point. Right now selling for $207 US. Pretty big chunk of value that's been wiped off, right? So we can see the Magikarp's going down in price. We can see the Pikachu's going down in price. Now, the reason why these cards have come down in price, a lot of it has to do with the fact that Surging Sparks and Paldea Evolved are getting reprinted. Now, when reprints come on the market, or when there's whispers of reprints, or when people are hearing that, hey, reprints are coming, it usually makes the singles come down in price. That's usually what happens. Now, we did have reverse effects of that, like with Blooming Waters, right? When Blooming Waters came on the market, the singles started climbing up. How does that make sense, right? And this is the problem with what's going on at the moment. Things that don't make sense logically are playing out. And that's why I'm actually being quite careful when investing in collectibles at the moment. Now, while talking about these cards, right, a lot of these cards are from sets which will be getting reprinted. And if you do want to get notified when the new sets get reprinted, that does bring me to today's video sponsor, which is PokeNotify. So PokeNotify is a paid Discord which instantly pings its users when a new Pokemon set is freshly restocked or available to pre-order at specific retailers. Now, PokeNotify covers an enormous amount of retailers across the world, and when entering the server, you can actually set up which region and area you are from, and you will get accurate Discord pings when a Pokemon set is restocked at a specific retailer. So we all know that there's a lot of new sets getting reprinted throughout 2025. Now, the best part is, if you just want to try it out, there is a 3-day free trial available, and if you do sign up using my code, you do actually get 25% off your first month. Feel free to check it out. The details of PokeNotify are within the video's description. So here I'm on the Roaring Moon. Now, I do want to take you back to that reference point of how I talked about the Surging Sparks Pikachu and the Paldea Evolved Magikarp, right? $205, whatever it is, right? These cards were the top chase cards of the Scarlet and Violet era for a little bit of time. The Pikachu didn't really get its time in the sun because Prismatic Evolutions came right after that. But you know, the Magikarp, it held its position in the market for a very long time. Now, here is where things don't make much sense with the Pokemon card prices at the moment. I'm on the Prismatic Evolution Special Illustration Rares, right? And the one I'm on here is the Roaring Moon. Now, you can see the Roaring Moon right now is selling for $240 US. This Roaring Moon is already more expensive than one of the top chase cards from the Scarlet and Violet era that held its position for a long time. Is that a bit too quick too soon? And a part of me feels like some people will say, oh, but you know, Paldea Evolved, so many people ripped it. There were so many people opening the set, so more stocks on the market. Kind of that is true as well, but the problem is that a lot of these Prismatic Evolutions cards have overtaken top performing cards previously, and that's where I think a little bit of a danger point is. Same thing when we look at the Ceruledge Special Illustration Rare. You can see this one right now selling for $216 US. This card here is more expensive than Magikarp. Now, it's not more expensive than Pikachu, but Magikarp held its position in the market for such a long time. How did did a card that just released that isn't even in the top 5 most expensive cards from Prismatic Evolution is already taking over one of the top chase cards? And this is where that confusion point is happening within the market right now. It's a very confusing market. And I think a lot of people are just entering the hobby. A lot of people just buying things, oh, I can't get my hands on Prismatic Evolutions. Now, yes, the reason why Prismatic Evolutions cards are so expensive, right? A lot of it has to do with the fact that the pull rates of Prismatic Evolutions are abysmal. They are so rough, dude. It's not that it's that hard to pull a special illustration rare. That's not the problem you're dealing with. The problem really comes in when you're looking for a specific special illustration rare. That's why Prismatic Evolutions has this wild hype, because the amount of SIRs in the set is ridiculous. 32 special illustration rares. So when you have that many options, obviously people wanting their particular SIRs, the price goes up because they're quite hard to get. Though when we move on, right, check this one out, right? This is when the kind of market doesn't make sense and why I'm not too confident with overbuying singles at the moment, right? I'm on the Glaceon special illustration rare. Now, as I go further with some of the examples in this video, it gets very clear that, wow, this is not sustainable, right? So the Glaceon, right? Glaceon selling for 337 US. Special illustration rare from Prismatic Evolutions. Very desired card. Very in demand. Really cool artwork. Yes, it has all the bells and whistles. But when we take it through another comparison point with the Glaceon VMAX alternate art from Evolving Skies, this is where things get a bit blurry. Right now, I'm on the Glaceon VMAX, and you can see the Glaceon VMAX is selling for 370. Now, that's not that much of a price difference, but man, how does that make sense when Evolving Skies is over $1,000 a booster box? The pull rates for these are very difficult. So VMAX alternate arts from Evolving Skies are still around 1 in 1,700 packs. This is a very old card. How does a brand new card compare with a set that's so expensive and it doesn't make sense? To me, this is where the confusion comes in, because the pull rates for these two are actually quite similar, right? But you can see this newfound Prismatic Evolutions hysteria that I like to call it doesn't really make sense on a market level, because, I mean, the Glaceon VMAX would be harder to find, right? Because, yes, there's more stock available of Glaceon VMAX because more people have opened Evolving Skies. But how do these cards just match the price points of these old established cards? To me, that's where it really kind of doesn't make sense. Same thing when we're looking at the Sylveon VMAX from Evolving Skies, right? This card is selling right now for 409 US. Gorgeous artwork, super difficult to pull, very, very hard pull rates in Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies booster packs are so expensive. The chance to pull one of these is ridiculous as well. But when we look at the Prismatic Evolution Sylveon, check this one out, selling for $561. That's where it gets confusing, man. And I know the argument, but not many Prismatic Evolutions have been opened, Evolving Skies have been opened, all that. Right, I get that, but I also don't get how these cards can just overtake these long established cards. Right now, the better purchase to me would definitely be the Sylveon VMAX, because you're buying an older card. We know that there's no reprints for that card coming about. There's no more Evolving Skies coming on the market. The only Evolving Skies you're getting is like from Charizard UPCs right now. Pretty much the easiest way to get Evolving Skies packs right now is if you're quite clever and you know which promo boxes to buy, and you'll get 1 or 2 inside that promo box. Or if you buy a Charizard UPC, you'll get some Evolving Skies. But to get a booster box of Evolving Skies, forget about it. It's probably out of most people's budget, right? Prismatic Evolutions, we have so much reprints on the way. Pokemon said that reprints are coming about. So how does a card with similar pull rates have a price of $561 when we know more stock's coming on the market, and when we're comparing it to one of the greatest sets of all time? This is when it gets very confusing. Same thing here with the Espeon, right? The special illustration rare. Right now selling for 401 US. Very expensive as well. That's, for a raw copy of a card, that's absurd pricing. Obviously, you've got all your evolution collectors who want to kind of like grab all of these, right? They want to make a master setup. When we look at the Espeon VMAX from Fusion Strike, check this out. The Espeon VMAX is selling for 320. This is such a rare card to pull. And how is it $80 less than the special illustration rare? This is where the confusion. Look at Fusion Strike booster boxes, man. Look how expensive they are at the moment. We're not getting any Fusion Strike anymore. Fusion Strike, the last time it was printed was like in 2022. So how on earth is this making sense? Who is buying these cards, and can it last? Because I kind of feel like what we're going through right now, there's so much of a hype bubble, right? Too many hype beasts have entered. I know so many people, man, even in my personal life, who have come back to collecting Pokemon cards because of this era. era. Prismatic Evolutions has pulled in all these people, right? And then when I look at all the things that have happened before it, when I look at Evolving Skies top chase cards, when I look at Fusion Strike top chase cards, Chill and Rain, these sets are not coming on the market anymore. We're going to get a lot of Prismatic Evolutions. Look at Pokemon 151, man. We're still getting 151 today. It's from 2023. Yes, Prismatic Evolutions pull rates are more difficult, but you know, it's safe to say that it's very likely Prismatic Evolutions will still be coming into market in 2027. Because if that's how long the reprint windows are coming now, we can have a long time of reprint windows for these sets, and it may be when all this dust settles, these cards will kind of come down in price. Now, also, as you guys know, right, channel giveaways are a big part of my channel, and if you do want to get notified for future giveaways and giveaway streams, you can actually set this up on my channel's Discord. You can also connect with the broader Pokemon community. Feel free to join. The server invite is in the video's description. The only one that's kind of making a little bit sense is the Umbreon from Prismatic Evolutions versus the Umbreon VMAX. Now, the Umbreon from Prismatic Evolutions is currently selling for 1.4k. That to me is, it upsets me when I see that price point because it never was meant to be on Moonbreon's level. Moonbreon took so many years to get to that price point. This card just straight away gets there, right? You can see Moonbreon's currently selling for $1,680. Yes, that's very expensive, but at least it kind of makes a bit of sense in comparison, right? I'm just grateful that the Prismatic Evolutions Umbreon hasn't overtaken Moonbreon because I think that's when nothing would really make sense in this hobby. And right now it's very confusing for a lot of people, but when we make these reference points and we kind of put the dots together and we try piece it together, it starts not making sense. And that's why if you're purchasing Pokemon investments at the moment or you're purchasing singles, you gotta be a bit strategic with what you buy because you don't want to be spending $1,500 or $1,400 on a chase card because we have so much more stock coming on the market. Evolving Skies ain't coming on the market anymore. That's from 2021, man. Like I said, the only Evolving Skies packs you're gonna get now are either in promo boxes, Charizard UPCs, or if you really wanna fork out some big money to buy a booster box or booster packs, right? These other cards, they're getting more reprints. So this is why we have to kind of, and if you are investing in collectibles at the moment, or if you do wanna purchase these cards, take your time with it, man. Think in the long haul. Do not be like, hey, I'm going to just go crazy right now and buy all these cards at these prices because as you can see, the market is too volatile, the market is too unpredictable, and my bigger question is who is buying these cards? Because is it genuine people who enjoy the hobby that it was like before the Pokemon TCG hype? Or is it these new hype beasts that like they're trying to make a quick dollar out of it, right? But then again, things will reverse. Right now, we're about to enter the European summer period, the US summer period. Like I always mention and like I always tell my audience, right? That's when sets and cards start coming down a lot in value, right? So you kind of have to be strategic right now. If we're getting all these reprints coming and you can see the price points and when we make the reference points to very old established sets with huge fan bases and they're just exploding way more in price than those, that's where the confusion lies, right? I'm very interested to see these card prices in a year or two from now. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna put a calendar reminder in 2 years from today when I'm saying this right now, and I'm gonna revisit this topic in 2 years and see the price points. Maybe I'm gonna be like, wow, I can't believe the prices. Maybe I'm gonna be like, wow, it really came down in price. But nonetheless, I will be putting a little, hashtag remind me in 2 years from now because I really want to do a comparison with the price points and see how it goes. Right now, it's probably the most interesting time to be involved within the Pokemon hobby because yes, when we had that boom, but what's gonna happen now? Now, while Pokemon cards are seeming to head slightly down in price, right? It does bring up a lot of questions relating to the longevity of the hobby. Though one area that I personally like to focus on is how powerful the nostalgia of Pokemon is. And there's actually some very unique science on why we as a generation enjoy collecting Pokemon cards so much. And I reveal the science and the answer to that within this video here. Within this video on screen, I go over the real reasons we love collecting Pokemon. Click the video that's appearing on screen and you can learn more about that topic there. I'll see you on that video.